Fantastic, everybody. Welcome to the Optimal Longevity Series. My name is Jeff Ashby, and it's been my honor and privilege to be here doing the seating and the greeting as we start our meeting. It's just an amazing opportunity that we have here to talk about things that are of importance to us right now, especially as it relates to the microdaily products formulated by the world's foremost expert on micronutrition and supplementation and the world's first radiation biologist PhD, and that happens to be Dr. Kedar N. Prasad. As we get underway tonight here, it's important that we protect ourselves from a legal standpoint. And so I'm going to go ahead and pull up here onto the screen with me our disclaimer as we get underway. And then from there, we will I'll pass it over to our host and our presenter this evening. So here we go. If you want to just follow along with me, these statements and comments have not been evaluated by the Food and Drug Administration. This information is solely for educational purposes only and includes recent advances in research on micronutrients. Engage, the micronutrient company, does not claim that our products diagnose, treat, cure, heal, or prevent any disease or injury. However, Engage's products are formulated to address nutritional deficiencies and supply the body with the required nutrients. It is important to note that nothing here is meant to be a substitute for professional medical treatment or a consultation with your primary healthcare provider. With that out of the way, we are free to have our discussion, and it is my honor and privilege as an ambassador for Engage Global to go ahead and turn the time over to our presenter here this evening, Ms. Brandy Sturdivant. I think that's the right last name. All I know is she is Brandy. So
Yep, it's the same.
Brandy, I will go ahead and actually just add you up here to the spotlight. I love the lighting that you have. You all darked out, and just as that next generation that is really stepping in to take over, you're doing the right things. You're putting together your passion, being able to go out there and help others. And so it's my privilege to pass the time over to you. We will watch the chat, looking for questions as you go throughout your presentation, or if you want to stop at any point, let us know what we can do to best serve and help you in your capacity tonight. So anything else that you need from me, Brandy, before I pull myself out of the way?
No, we're good. Thank you.
All righty. Okay, you betcha.
All right. Hey, everybody. Thank you for joining me on the call tonight. I'm excited to do this presentation for you. So the topic is Detoxing 101. We're not going to get through the whole presentation tonight. They set it up to where it would be a two-part presentation. But overall, we're going to cover detoxing from a physical standpoint, an emotional standpoint, and a spiritual standpoint, as well as an environmental. So tonight we're just going to cover the first two topics. Maybe we'll go more, but I doubt it. Okay, so I'm going to share my screen so we can get started. And if y'all have questions at any time, go ahead, like you said, and pop them in the chat or raise your hand or something, and they can stop me during the presentation and you can ask. Let's see, share screen. There we go. Hold on. All right. So Detoxing 101, like I said, and I'm going to give y'all a little background about me. I know you know my mom, or most of you do, but Beth is my mom, if you didn't know. I went to USC. I graduated there in 2011 with a bachelor's in hospitality management. I also got my massage therapist license in California. I don't remember what year, but it's been a minute. East Coast, West Coast, because I just packed up one day and left the East Coast and went and lived on the West Coast. And I lived there for 4 years. I moved back when I had my daughter, and I went over there to learn more holistic healing modalities. So that's what I spent a lot of my time over there doing. I also got my nutrition certification at one point. I haven't kept it up, but the knowledge is still there. That's my daughter. You see her in my mom's Zoom journey. She's 4, and she's a big reason why I want to share this knowledge, because I want other people to be able to be preventative. And I don't want children to have to see their mother go through what I had to see my mother go through. And this is my book I wrote, 21 Days to Freedom. It links the scientific and the biblical perspectives together about how fasting and forgiveness impacts us on all levels of our being. So it's kind of like it's a more focused presentation of what I'm presenting tonight to you guys. And then I have an Amazon cart because I am an Amazon seller. I'm a 6-figure Amazon seller. I'm pretty proud of that. I did it in 5 months' time, which is good. And then, of course, the power lines, which is why my family's here is because of these power lines. Many of you know how it affected my mom, but how it affected me was, for one, it was traumatic to see my mom go through this. And for two, I was high risk for breast cancer, level 4. I had got a thermograph test. I never went to the hospital or the oncologist and got it biopsied, this knot that was in my breast, but the doctor that reviewed my thermograph wanted me to do that, but I decided not to do that and to just treat myself like they said I did have cancer and do what I would do from a natural perspective. All right. Are we ready to get started? Let's do it. Okay, so like I said, I had high risk for breast cancer, level 4, and I watched this documentary like maybe the same day that I found out about this. And one of the quotes that stuck out to me and has stuck with me for all this time is, all disease is rooted in toxicity and deficiency. And we must rid the toxicity in order to correct the deficiencies. So thankfully for us, we have micro daily, right? And the EMF, the hydro, they focus so much on ridding our body of toxicity, but at the same time correcting the deficiencies. So at the time when I had this thing going on with my breast, I didn't know about micro daily. Obviously, I was 23 years old, so that was like 10 years ago. And had I known about it, I would have been taking it and doing the protocol that they have for people that have cancer. But I went on a 28-day juice cleanse. So this was my first experience with fasting, my first real experience of like, wow, like I can get sick, like really sick. And it made me, I guess, go on the path that I've gone on to learn how to heal the body. Because I was obviously searching for ways to how to help heal my mom, but it didn't hit home to me until I had my own issue that I had to correct. Okay, so phase 1, like I said, we're going to go over the physical detox. And this is obviously about our body. The reason why I always recommend people start with physically detoxing their body is because it's a domino effect. As you start to detox yourself physically, it begins to work on the other parts of you, the mental, emotional parts of you. It cultivates discipline. It's just, and you can see results. Like when you're working on your mindset, you might not be able to see a result like you can when you're working on your physical body. So I always recommend starting with the physical body, and this is how I started on my journey. So how I laid this out is the route that God led me down to help heal myself. And yeah. So why do you want to detox your body? So you don't have to walk around like it hurts. Like that's one of the things that used to get me every time when I worked at the restaurant. Is so many people would come in there hunched over, like, or this one couple, they came to eat at the restaurant every week, and it literally took the man 10 minutes to get from his car to the restaurant. And that just like really made an impression on me. And I was like, God, like I do not want that to be my experience. So I need some knowledge, something to help prevent me from getting there. So that's always been one of my main reasons why I want to stay on top of detoxing my body. It also helps you to have good mental health because we know from other calls that we've had about how the gut affects the brain. And the gut is where so many of our hormones are made. It's where bacteria can get out of balance and therefore throw all of your chemistry out of balance. Also, when we have a cleaner body, we can absorb more nutrients. If you have a whole bunch of gunk on all of your main organs, like the liver, the colon, in your blood, you can't absorb nutrients like you want to. So to make the micro daily more effective, you should consider your lifestyle and whether it's helping you to detox. Yes, the micro daily is going to help you detox, but is it helping you at the level it could if you just made a few adjustments to your lifestyle? It's going to help you to have more energy. It's going to make it easier to deal with emotional trauma. And I don't know if any of you were on the call when I did the call with Jet and Dr. Court and Dr. Prasad about my addiction and how getting on the micro daily helped me to overcome that because I was able to deal with the emotional trauma that I had been running from. So for me, I had done a lot of detox, and I won't say I did it all because I had the emotional trauma to detox, but I couldn't do it when my physical body was malnourished, and that's what the micro daily helped me to overcome. And then it also helps you to deal with your day-to-day stress, and it allows you to stay ready so you don't have to get ready. We want to be on the offense, not the defense. It makes life much better that way. Okay, so this is a great analogy to think of your body. So if you put the micronutrients into this dirty fish aquarium, it's not going to have the same effect as if you put the micronutrients into this clean fish aquarium. So you want to think of your body like this. When you first come in contact with micro daily, more than likely your body's in the state of the dirty fish aquarium. So what are you doing to help your body get to the clean fish aquarium aside from the fact of doing micro daily? Like, are you still drinking sodas? Are you still having all the refined foods? Are you doing any kind of physical activity? Like, what are you doing to help your body other than putting this micronutrient in? Because it can only do so much. Like, we have to take responsibility for our well-being and the outcomes we desire. So I love this analogy. It just gives you a picture of what you're dealing with as far as what a dirty body looks like. Like when there's a dirty fish tank, they don't just throw stuff in there and try and make it clean. They drain the water, and then they put new fresh water, and then they add the food or whatever else they put in there to keep it balanced. Okay, so here are the signs that you need to detox. Stubborn belly fat. I know most of us probably are dealing with some of that. Maybe some of us aren't. The inability to gain weight is also a sign that you could need to detox because you're not able to absorb your nutrients, therefore you can't gain weight. Feeling tired all day, anxiety or mood swings, can't fall asleep, skin issues, like any kind of skin issues, autoimmune issues, chronic infections, bloating, constipation. Like a lot of people may experience these things, but these things are not normal for us to be experiencing, right? Like we don't want to make it okay or make it seem like, well, everybody deals with it, so I'll be all right. Like, no, you should be thriving. Like these are signs like your body is crying out for help. So you need to figure out what exactly is lacking. Maybe it is just that you're deficient in a nutrient, or maybe it is you're toxic and deficient, or maybe you're just toxic. And if you're toxic, then that means you're deficient. So it's like a vicious cycle. And as far as detoxing, it's not something that you should be doing all the time. It's something I do in seasons, just like nature. Spring and summer, things are more thriving. Fall and winter, they're not. So it's like a time of rest. Like even in the fall, like the leaves literally fall off the trees so they can cleanse. And I think those are the best seasons for us to cleanse as well, is in the fall and the winter, because in the heat and in the springtime, our bodies need more fuel anyway to deal with those seasons. So it just makes sense for me. Obviously, everywhere it's not cold in the winter or cold like that in the fall, but it's just something to think about. That was something I learned when I was studying Ayurveda, because they do a lot of things based off the seasons, and just like everybody's body is different. So part of being able to detox is getting in tune with your body, because everybody's body is not the same. That's why nobody's ever going to know your body better than you. And you need to know that. And like I said earlier, take responsibility for getting to know your body, for understanding what works best for you. Because one detox might work good for me and it's not going to work good for you. And the only way you're going to know is kind of like trial and error in a sense. Or you might just get a feeling like, hey, this is what I need to do, and do it. Because that's what's happened to me sometimes. All right. So these are our detox pathways. The colon, obviously. Most people know that that's a detox pathway. Our liver and our kidneys, those two pathways tend to work together. So if your kidneys are off, then that means your liver's probably off. If your liver's off, then your kidneys are probably off. Then you have your skin. So a lot of detox happens through the skin. That's probably one of my main organs that I experience the most issues with, and know that something is off in my body. So like having acne, having eczema, having psoriasis, any of that is a sign that, hey, I need to detox, and my skin is taking the brunt of it. So what specific things can I do for that? And then the lymph system, it is so important, and that will be one of the main things that I've learned about dealing with my mom, is because her lymphatic system got clogged up, and it's easy to get clogged, especially when you're exposed to chemicals such as mold or heavy metals. And the lymph is the only pathway that doesn't have a pump. All the other pathways have a pump, and then your blood is flowing through it like that, but not the lymph. The lymph, you have to move by yourself, which means you have to walk, have to get massage. Sitting in a sauna can help move it, but you can't just sit there and think it's going to move on its own, because it's not. Some people rebound, but it depends on how sick you are if that's going to be effective for you or not. And then the lungs. The lungs are always cleansing, and that's our air pathways, and we can also get particles in your lungs easily. They can get easily stressed. You get a lot of mucus in your lungs, and mucus is obviously something that you don't want settling in your body. So if you have a lot of congestion and stuff like that, that's a sign like, hey, I need to do something to detox. Ways to detox: sweating. So there's dry saunas, there's wet saunas, there's infrared saunas to help you sweat if you're not physically able to exercise. Exercising, you can do detox baths. Those work really well, actually. There's different herbal protocols, there's cleanses, there's fasting, it's light therapy, and then of course we have micro daily. I still incorporate these things into my lifestyle when I see fit. Although I do have the micro daily as well to use. And then obviously, there's the different protocols where you do higher dosages because you do have an issue going on. Okay, before we go to this part, I'm going to stop and see, does anybody have any questions that you want to ask me? I can't really see anything. Let's see.
Brandy, there's nothing in the chat so far.
Okay.
So we're good.
Okay. All right. So phase 2 is going to be the soul detox, and you'll see why I called it that in a minute. All right. So the gut and the brain, we know we have heard about this, right? The gut and brain axis, when the gut is messed up, the brain's going to be messed up because the hormones aren't going to be being created. The gut is going to tell the brain like, hey, I'm stressed, stuff is not right here. And it's going to affect our mental health, our productivity, our mood. We're going to have more anxiety and all that, right? And so our soul is made up of our mind, will, and emotions. And if our gut is messed up, we can pretty much guarantee that our mind, our will, and emotions are going to be more all over the place because there's something blocking the information from getting to us how we need to, because we're depleted for one, but we're also living in a toxic environment that doesn't allow us to be who we know we're supposed to be. And in order for us to show up how God intended for us to show up, we must clean out the trapped emotions and rewrite the negative programming. That's what has to be detoxed, is the trapped emotions and the negative programming. And this is why I say start with the physical, because if we deal with the physical, that means we should have a better gut health. When we have a better gut health, that means our mind is going to be working more properly, and then we can rewrite the negative programming and release the negative emotions out of our body. Okay, so a lot of people are probably familiar with, or you've heard that as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. So in your heart means your innermost being. And what you feel on the inside at your deepest parts is what's going to come out of your mouth. So, and if it doesn't come out of your mouth, it's going to settle in your body if you haven't let it go. And so we must understand that the body doesn't lie. So if you have an illness, 98% chance that there's some kind of emotional root tied to it, without a doubt. And you have to understand that your emotions are being programmed from the time that you were in your mother's womb. So everything that she thought, felt, experienced while she was pregnant with you is what went into programming your DNA, what went into programming your emotional disposition. So you can start to think about those things, and maybe certain things about yourself will make more sense. Like if you had a traumatic birth, that could have be trapped emotional trauma in you that needs to be released. And if it doesn't get released, it's stored in your body. And there's a verse that says that the lack of joy or these negative emotions that we experience, if they're not released, they'll dry out our bones. And why that's relevant is your bones are the storehouses to your body of your red marrow and yellow marrow. And the red marrow is in charge of making your blood, white blood cells, and platelets. And it's the stem cells for those things. And then the yellow marrow makes fat, bone cells, and something else. I can't think of it. But these are our storehouses. So if your negative emotions dry up these storehouses, when you go through something, you're not going to have any reserve to deal with it. So that's all the more reason to get rid of these emotions. Like you can say that you're over something, but if you have to really make sure you're over it, because you don't want any of this to reside in your body, because every emotion produces a chemical. It's not just the bad ones, but the negative emotions produce chemicals that are bad for your body, bad for your mind, bad for your spirit. So here are some examples of emotions and the different illnesses connected with them. Unresolved anger is connected to depression. Cancer is a form of self-destruction. Skin problems, irritation and criticism, and diabetes, judging self or others. And there's many more emotions that go with each of these, but I just picked out the main ones or really the first ones I picked out because I felt like they would be most relevant. But these came from a book called Feelings Buried Alive Never Die. And this is the book that opened me up to understanding how much our emotions play a role in our health and how we have to take responsibility for these things so that they don't affect us in a way that we don't want to be affected. Because they're going to stick with us if we don't deal with it. So why should you detox your soul? So you don't live in a state of fight or flight. Because when you have unresolved trauma, it triggers you. So different situations trigger you. Different experiences, same thing as situation, like different things will trigger and help you identify that, hey, maybe there's something deeper to why I'm always triggered by these same kind of situations. Unforgiveness is probably the biggest thing that affects almost everybody, and it's one of the worst emotions that you could have tied up in your body. I've worked on unforgiveness. Unforgiveness isn't always a fun process to work through, but it's a necessary process to work through. You have to forgive in order to move forward in your life, whether it be your physical health, your mental, emotional health, in business, whatever the case may be. And the inability to forgive is classified as a medical condition. And the reason why I felt that was important to say is because if it's a medical condition, that means that you can do something about it. It doesn't mean that you have to live with it, and it's your responsibility. Like that's one of the main things I learned. Like everything is my responsibility. Everything that happened in my life, I'm the common denominator of. So what am I going to do about it? Yes, bad things happen, but how you perceive it can change everything. Detoxing your emotions will help you not hold yourself back because you'll be more outgoing. You'll be able to trust. You'll be able to not be triggered, right? And you can be in alignment with your true identity, because when we aren't in a state of peace, we're not in our true identity. We're not walking in our power. So who doesn't want to walk in their power, right? We all want to walk in our power. We all want to feel empowered. We all want to be able to be comfortable being ourselves. And it allows you to function from a place of wholeness and not brokenness. So when you're functioning from a place of wholeness, that means your filter is right. If you're broken, you're filtering all of life through this incorrect lens that's going to hold you back. So you've got to get the brokenness healed so you can have a true lens to filter life through, so that you can see things how God intended you to be able to see things. Okay, signs you need to work on your emotional, mental health, aka detox your soul. You keep experiencing the same negative outcomes. Like, how many people have experienced the same situation, but it's just different people? That's a big red flag that, hey, there's probably some emotional thing that I need to work on, because it's this frequency and you keep drawing that same frequency to you, and it's going to keep happening until you deal with whatever it is you need to deal with, until you uncover whatever needs to be covered. Like, you got to get, I guess, fed up enough to like dig a little deeper. You can't connect with people anymore. Maybe you just have so much distrust because there's so many things that have happened, and you kept it moving, but you didn't really like heal from it. You have anxious behavior. Like I said earlier, you're constantly triggered. You never feel good enough, and you're highly critical. And if you're highly critical of yourself, then you're probably highly critical of others. And if you're highly critical of others, I'm sure you're highly critical of yourself. And being critical doesn't get anybody anywhere unless it is, what do they call it? Constructive criticism. So unless it's constructive, it's not coming from a good place. Okay, so how can we work on removing these toxic mindsets and emotions? Affirmations or mantras. So I obviously like to use Bible verses because our words matter. They reprogram everything around us. They reprogram our DNA. If our mother's thoughts, feelings, and words programmed us in her womb, our thoughts, feelings, and words can program us outside of the womb. Educating yourself on this topic, removing toxic people out of your life, changing your music, changing what you listen to, meaning what TV shows you're watching. If you're watching the news and it's always negative and you're already being in a negative state, stop watching the news. If you have high anxiety, don't watch the news. They don't usually talk about any good stuff. if you're going through something sad, don't sit there and listen to all the sad music in the world. It's not going to help you get out of that frequency that isn't serving you. Deciding to be positive, deciding that I'm going to make a change, that I'm going to have better and I'm going to do better. Being grateful, because an attitude of gratitude can go very far. Facing your trauma and forgiving, and deciding not to be the victim of your story. So a lot of people who are ill, they like to claim their illness. You have to be careful what you come in agreement with. If you're like, my diabetes or my cancer, like, no, don't call it that. Like, that's why when I even talk about this breast cancer thing, I'm like, they said I had this. Like, I'm never trying to come into agreement with that. That's not what I'm here to do. And I'm thankful that I have that knowledge, because I think it helped me be able to heal faster. Because after I went on that 28-day juice cleanse, that night my breast was gone, and it stayed gone. And obviously I made other lifestyle changes after the fact, but I think not coming into agreement with these things makes a total difference. Even if it is true, you have to walk by faith, not by sight. Like, which report do you want to believe? The report of reality or the report of faith and what you want, the outcome that you want. So we have to remind ourselves of. Okay. It is 8:30, so I'm going to go ahead and just continue and get through this part, and then we'll probably end after this section here. But does anybody have any questions or anything so far that they wanted to ask me? No? Hold on. Check.
Brandy, Danielle asked, what is a good length time of fasting?
It just depends on everybody and what your goal is for fasting. So if you're just doing it for your physical health, I think like the sweet spot for that is between 36 and 36 and 48 hours is the sweet spot. No, 48 and 72 hours. So that's 3 to 4 days. 3 to 4 days is the sweet spot for just focusing on your physical health. Now, if you're going to do like a spiritual fast, then that would be something more so that you need to consult with God about what he's leading you to do. And if you're meant to do it, he's going to lead you to do it. So does that answer it? The specific juice cleanse I did was Super Juice Me. It was a documentary I watched. It's actually available on YouTube for free. And I did it, and it has an app that gives you the recipes and your grocery list and everything. But today, like I said, I don't think I would do it again. I would just do micro dailies, cancer protocol, and do that. Yes, 72 hours resets the immune system. But like some people, when they go past the 72 hours, they start to feel some type of way. So they say 72 hours is like the sweet spot for that. And I've done 3 day, 7 day, 21 day, 40 day, all with liquid or water, no food. But the longer fasts were more spiritual fasts, and I feel like you have a certain grace when you're doing a spiritual fast versus when you're just doing it for health reasons. Yes, micro daily is safe to take with any prescription. There's no contraindications, right?
That's correct.
Yeah, there's no contraindications with it. Okay. I don't know how to answer Lisa's hand, but it's raised.
Yeah, I just wanted to know if you can please post or repeat the name of that book that you just mentioned a little bit ago. You are amazing, young lady. You are an amazing young lady.
Thank you. The name of the book, I'm going to type it in the chat, but it's Feelings Buried Alive Never Die.
Brandy is in the chat.
Oh, yeah, someone wrote that, but they didn't say it was the book, so I didn't know. I apologize.
Okay. Yeah, that's the book. It's like one of the most influential books I read that has led me on this journey that I have been on. Okay, so now I'm going to get into the spiritual detox. Now, I know everybody may or may not believe in Jesus, but I do, so that's the perspective that this part of the presentation is coming from. Okay, so what is the spirit? The spirit is the dimension of the human being where we have a relationship with God. It's where the truth can be accessed. That's why people are always trying to tap into the spiritual realm, especially when you're creating and doing things like that. Like, you get inspiration from the spirit because it's the truth and it's where everything starts. Everything starts in the spirit before we see it manifest here on earth. That's why everybody's always talking about manifesting, because it comes from somewhere, and that's the spirit realm. So the spirit realm is very real. It's the parent realm to the physical realm. It's governed by laws, just like the physical realm is governed by laws. And there's good entities and bad entities in the spiritual realm. I have been on both sides of the spiritual realm, meaning the side where I believe in God and Jesus, and then the side when I was into crystals and then, spirit guides and all that stuff. So it's definitely real. And whether you believe in God or not, both spectrums of spirituality believe that the spirit realm is real. So why should you detox your spirit? So you can walk in your purpose, so that you can break generational curses, so that you can have the strength to walk in integrity, to have supernatural peace, to be a blessing to yourself and those around you, and to secure your future as well as the generations to come. Because what we do affects the generations to come. What our ancestors did affects us on a spiritual level. Because we have yes, we have this physical DNA, but we have a spiritual DNA that's passed through our family. Okay, so I don't know if y'all know about generational curses or not, but they are real. A curse, it's a curse on a bloodline or a person due to covenants, oaths, vows, or actions done that are legal grounds for a pattern of negativity to follow all those in the bloodline until broken. So this is why we approach the soul detox last, because if you've gone through the physical detox and you've gone through the soul detox and you're still having issues, this is where I would search. Like, you've done all the things on the other level, so this is on the last level left to look. So you might want to dig deeper into your family history. You might want to think about the things you said. Like, a vow could simply be like, I'm never going to have addiction like such and such. And then when you get older, you have addiction. Or, I'm never going to abuse people because your parent abused you. But then when you get older, you find yourself doing it. It's because of the vows you made. And when we make vows, it sets off something in the spiritual realm, and you are held accountable to it. Like, your words create worlds. So you have to be mindful of not only what you come in agreement with, but what you say out of your mouth, because it says blessing and curses come from our tongue, not from our thoughts, but our tongue. So it means it has to be said. Just like God spoke the world into existence, we speak our reality into existence every day. So we have to be mindful of it, and we have to take it seriously. I think a lot of people don't take it seriously. I know I didn't take it seriously. I didn't even know it went this deep. But some examples of generational curses could be poverty, barrenness. And barrenness doesn't mean like you just didn't have children. It means like everything you try to do in life doesn't succeed, doesn't come into fruition. Premature death, like some families, men die at a certain age all throughout the bloodline, or everybody contracts this certain disease. Now, some things can be a generational pattern, or it could be a generational curse. So you have to be able to discern which one it is you're dealing with. But a generational pattern has more to do with your habits that is causing everybody in the bloodline to get these same results. So like, poverty could just be a bad mindset and no one's done anything to break it. But then you also have to look like, but is it spiritual entities influencing my bloodline to have these same thought patterns and not choosing to find a better way, or keep presenting obstacles that make you feel defeated or just try and get you to give up, because devil came to kill, steal, and destroy. So you just have to be aware, and you can't do anything about this stuff if you're unaware of it, because I wasn't aware of these things until I started on my fasting and prayer journey. Okay, so signs you should detox your spirit: confusion in your life, repeating patterns, bad dreams, being fearful, lack of peace, addictions, and doing things that you don't want to do. That's like doing things that you don't want to do is a real main sign. And I just think confusion in your life, and of course bad dreams, because God speaks to us through dreams. So if you are being chased in your dreams all the time, or stuff's being taken from you in your dreams all the time, then you might want to check into that. I would say there's probably something going on that God is trying to get your attention of. Yeah. Okay. So ways to detox your spirit: spending time journaling, praying, fasting, reading your Bible, understanding your family history, and asking God to show you things in your life that are hindering you spiritually. Because if it's hindering you spiritually, it's going to hinder you in the physical realm. Because like I said, everything starts in the spiritual realm and manifests itself here. And just giving God permission to reveal his purpose for you, to you. Because like he's not just going to do it. You have to ask and it shall be given. Seek it and you shall find it. It's a relationship. He's not just gonna throw it up on you. Okay. Let me see. So I see that you just said that you need help with your addiction to nicotine. So me personally, I had addiction to weed, and the first part that helped me was, like I said, being on micro daily. I was on micro daily doing the therapeutic dose for 4 months, 3.5, 4 months. And I naturally just started to not smoke as much. And I had smoked breakfast, lunch, dinner, snack, like all day long. It was my thing. It was a big part of my identity, a big part of my life. And so for it to just die down on its own was amazing, because I wasn't able to stop. The only time I hadn't smoked was when I was pregnant. And so I smoked for 12 years, except for that time period. And then I was able to start dealing with my emotional trauma. Like I was able to actually go back and think about the things that I didn't want to think of. And I think it was because I was nourished. And then I was able to just deal with those emotions. And after I dealt with those emotions, I stopped smoking completely. And I haven't smoked in almost a year and 7 months now. So I think a big place to start is on the micro daily, and maybe give yourself a therapeutic dose, because if you have an addiction, more than likely it's something going on with your gut, or it's something going on with you're deficient, from my experience and just other people. And then there's usually an emotional root, because you're running from something. I don't know what, but yeah, you're running from something. Okay, so we're just gonna go ahead and do the environmental detox, because that's why we're all here with Micro Daily, is because we understand that 5G and radiation is making our environments that we live in a toxic environment. So it's not just removing things out of your environment that are harmful, like Wi-Fi, or putting your cell phones on airplane mode when you're not using it, or those swirly lights. I can't remember the ones they give away for free. But it's the process of just removing things, habits, and people from your life that are liabilities instead of assets. So especially in your home, you want your environment to promote health, not be taking your health away. So you should detox your environment to take stress off of your body, soul, and spirit, to allow yourself to control what you can control, because we can't control what goes on outside of our house. And sometimes we can't even control what goes on inside our house, but wherever you can control the environment, control it. It will help you get to your next level. You'll be being proactive instead of reactive. And it just allows you to set boundaries. Like, so, you know, when you come home, it's your safe place instead of a place of stress, whether it be mental stress, physical stress, or spiritual stress. So signs you should detox your environment: you feel drained around certain people or in certain places, you have allergic reactions, you're lacking motivation, and you can't focus. So sneezing, anxiety, itching, like especially like if you know, like allergy reactions, stuffy noses, all that, that means there's probably something in your house that's irritating your body, whether it be fragrances, certain food, just certain smells, the computers, the Wi-Fi, where your breaker box is, like all that stuff matters. Like we had to learn to look at these things, especially having somebody like my mom be a part of our life. Like we had to unplug the most random things, but it's because her body was so sensitive. So we were, in a way, benefited because we didn't know it was affecting us, but if it was affecting her, it's affecting us. It was just on a level that wasn't brought to our attention yet. Like me, I was highly sensitive to smells, like carpets, any plug-in, incense, any kind of cleaning supply thing. So those are things that you want to make sure is not toxic. So you want to have, don't use air fresheners unless you make it out of like some essential oils and water or something. Don't use Downy and all these laundry detergents that have all these toxic chemicals in it. Because for what? They're like forever chemicals. They disrupt your hormones. Like fragrances is one of the main things that disrupts our hormones, which means it's disrupting our gut. Even those little packs that you use to wash your dishes with, like whatever you can use that is clean, use it. Meaning like baking soda, vinegar, peroxide, lemon, use those kind of things to clean up. I've been doing it for a long time now. I immediately know when I'm somewhere where they're not doing these kind of things. Even the type of lights, like I mentioned, those lights they give away for free. They used to make my mom so sick. No, they didn't have an immediate effect on me or anything, but I just know if it was doing something to her, it was more than likely doing something to me, and I don't want to wait until I have a effect like she was having. So it's because they have mercury in them. And that's why, like, I think if they break, you have to have hazmat come out to your house to clean them up. And it's a wonder why they give them out for free. So, and I didn't mention too much about setting the boundaries with the people, but you've got to set boundaries with people who drain you. Because no, you shouldn't have people that you interact with on a consistent basis who drain you unless you absolutely have to, right? Limit your exposure to technology, or if you use technology, use it in a smart way. Like don't sleep with it beside your bed at night. Have blue light on your phone. Have the blue light turned down or off on your phone when you can. Like I have my phone set to, it just automatically goes on airplane mode at a certain time every night. So I don't have to worry about, oh, did I put it on airplane mode or whatever. There's things that you can put on your Wi-Fi router where it puts it on a timer and it'll just cut off automatically. There's blue light, you always see Jet wearing the blue light glasses. I don't wear the blue light glasses because I have a blue light shield on my computer screen, because I can't say that I would commit to wearing glasses or remember to doing that every day. Getting rid of unnecessary chemicals. We already talked about that. Those cleaning chemicals, your laundry detergent. It's just not necessary. There's healthier alternative versions. And eliminate negative programming. When I say that, like what you play on your TV, on YouTube, on your music in your house, because all of that sets the atmosphere in your house. So especially if you're trying to heal, just you need to have the most positive stuff surrounding you as possible. Okay, that was it. And then this is the summary of
Excuse me?
what?
Yeah, hello. What is this meeting about? Like, what's the company or something or the business?
We were just doing a presentation tonight on detoxing, but it's for micro daily, micronutrients.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Mhm. Okay, so this is just a summary of what we just went over. So we're three-part people. We're body, soul, and spirit. Each part affects the other part. No, you can't focus on one part of your being and think you're going to be healthy. You have to focus on all three parts, and it's nobody's responsibility to get each part in balance but yours. If you have toxicity in any part, you will be causing a deficiency, because emotional deficiencies, like we talked about, deplete our nutrient stores. Physical toxicity is going to affect how you operate in this world, and it's going to make you more susceptible spiritually to whatever curses may or may not be there on your bloodline. Okay, so we just kind of went over this. Physical toxicity is going to cause mental issues. It's going to make you susceptible spiritually, and it's going to cause physical pain. And I think pain is a really big tool that God uses, because we respond to it. We don't respond to stuff when everything is all good. If we didn't have pain, we wouldn't know there was a problem. If we didn't have pain, we wouldn't appreciate when we don't have pain. Okay, so when your mental, mind, will, and emotions is off, it's going to cause you physical issues to develop, because it's going to deplete you. It allows interference from spiritual entities, and it's going to affect your identity as a person, as a human being. You're not going to see yourself how you need to see yourself, because your filter is off. And then spiritual toxicity, it causes physical issues to develop, interference from the bad entities, and can cause incorrect mindsets to occur, because the spiritual patterns are there and haven't been broken. So this is how I perceive things, is that the spirit receives truth from God. The soul filters that information from your spirit to your body, and then your body acts on the information provided by the soul. So that's why all these have to be in working order, and that's the order that we should be operating from. But most of us are operating from body, soul, and then spirit, instead of spirit at the top, soul, and then body. And like I said, if your filter is off, what you're receiving from God, the truth is going to be skewed in some form or fashion. So then it's not going to play out how you want it to play out in the physical realm. Okay, so what I want everybody to remember from this presentation is the process of detoxing is not always fun. It requires discipline. It may be lonely, and it's required to make it to the next level. So if you don't want to make it to the next level, if you don't want to be the best that you can be, then don't worry about detoxing. Just keep doing what you're doing. But if you do, know this is what's going to get you there. And it's done in seasons and in layers. It's a lifelong practice, and you just need to be patient with yourself and allow yourself to go through it, and know that you'll never be done with it. All right, the end. That's all I have for you guys. I have a free school group. I don't know if any of y'all know what school is, but it's just a community where I share this kind of information, and I just go more in depth on different topics on teaching people to be health conscious on all levels of their being. So if you want to join, we can get you the link for that. But that's what I have for you guys tonight. So if you have any questions, let me know. If not, then we can wrap it up.
That was amazing.
Thank you.
That was amazing. Yes, I agree with that.
Not only was that amazing, but I got to give Beth some kudos too, because she's got some contribution to this.
She definitely does. She's been a big part of me becoming who I am.
Excellent presentation. So proud of you.
How can we get it again? Like, where can we get your presentation again, or see it, or hear it, or whatever?
I guess I can put it on the Team Serve YouTube, and I'll have it in my school group. So if you join it, then it'll be there too.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Please provide the information as to how they can join your school group.
Okay, let me just get the link while you're here.
While she's doing that, I just want to comment on it. It was really an amazing presentation, Brandy. It was filled with information. It was factful, filled with facts, but it was also very, very motivating, because all of us need to be reminded that we can be better and do better and feel better. And the thing that I was really most impressed with, you're reminding people that they are responsible for their well-being. They're responsible for their choices, the way they think, their mindset, their habits. And sometimes people will call us and say, well, what pill is good for that? Or what pill is good for that? Or what capsule do I take? Without wanting to realize that the disease that their body has created is a reflection of all these things that you've talked about tonight. So this is a kind of preamble. I think this is a kind of preamble that needs to be given to everyone who says that I seriously want to get healthy, because most people are still focused on they want a treatment, they want a pill for a particular disease without realizing that their issues are in their tissues. So this presentation, I think, is a good adjunct to all that we do to help people, and letting them know that their healing is their responsibility and in their hands. And it is not just physical, it's their mindset, it's emotional, and it's spiritual. I really enjoyed your presentation, and I want to thank you, Brandy.
Thank you. I appreciate your feedback and you listening. And I totally agree. And I think that's one of the biggest lessons I had to learn, was that it's my responsibility. And that's one of the biggest things I learned from my mom, is that she took responsibility for her illness. Yes, we live close to the power lines. Yes, she got exposed to the chemical, but at the end of the day, she had signs of stuff going on before that point. And nothing was going to get better. She was blaming everyone and anything else.
Great presentation. What was the name of your book?
Thank you. The name of my book is 21 Days to Freedom.
Okay, thanks.
And it's on
Thank you, Brandy. It was wonderful.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Brittany, I posted that Amazon link that has your books on it. And if you want to post your website that has your other books, it's fine.
Okay. I'll just let them go to Amazon. I posted the link for the school group in the chat too, if anybody wanted it. And like I said, it's just a community where I go more in depth in these topics, and you can chit chat with other people about it.
Okay. Well, I thank you so much. It was just refreshing to see a young person talk with such great knowledge. And I'm going to do some of the things that you mentioned, okay?
Okay, thank you. Glad to hear it.
All right, so I'm babysitting, so that's why I have the camera off, y'all. But we really thank you for coming. Everybody say a prayer for Jet and Russ, Dr. Court, and we will see y'all next Tuesday. Thank you, Brandy, so much for sharing and all the work that you have done. And
yeah,
so
thanks a lot, Brandy. It was awesome.
Thank
we're
you.
gonna wrap it up.
Hi, Mama.
Hi, Journey.
Hello, Journey.
Brandy.
Hi, Miss Evelyn.
Awesome.
Hello, sweetheart.
You're so silly.
Thank you so much, Brandy.
No problem. Thank y'all for being here and listening to me.
Great job. Way to go.
All right, so do I stop recording now?
Yes, because you're
Okay.
recording.